Hey, how's everybody doing today? I'd like to talk to you today about hope. And I want to inspire hope within you and within yourself. I want to share with you today my life story, how I got to where I am today through the life challenges and through the difficulties that I've been through in my life. And maybe I can inspire a little bit of hope into yours by sharing these moments with you. So I'd like to start off to say my name is Austin O'Neill. I was born on September 30th, 1992. Yes, I'm only 21 years old. I do have a baby face, I know. So everywhere I go, they always say, "Oh, you're the white boy with the baby face." I am. And I'm married to my beautiful wife, Melissa, and I have a son named Gabriel who is about to be 11 months old. And so I am truly blessed. I'm honored to be able to speak with you and share my life story of how I got to where I am today. Someone who is thriving and working hard and being a man that I'm supposed to be. So let me share with you. I was born in Fort Worth, and technically in Haltom City. Haltom City is a suburb of Fort Worth, if you will. And it's not the nicest part of town at all. Okay, it's a very poor, run-down town. I wouldn't say it's ghetto per se, but it is not the cleanest, not the nicest area. So I grew up in a home that was very rough. My parents were good parents when I was little. They did everything for us. My dad worked an excellent job in Dallas, so he would commute every day to North Dallas. My mom was actually a stay-at-home mom. She had a disease called lupus that actually deteriorated the inside of her body with her immune system. So, as you can probably imagine, she spent a lot of time in bed, at home every day, and it was a challenge for her. But we would know that we would be there to help her, and she would know that we would be there for her, whenever we got out of school and whatnot. Life was good until I was about 6, 7 years old. Okay, and somehow out of the blue, drugs entered into our family. My dad started to have people come over. They started to be influenced by other friends and other people that they were just close to, and drugs entered. And slowly but surely, my dad became an addict and also a drunk. He chose to go down that path, but it wasn't a fast path. It was really a slow process in getting them there. And since my mom had lupus and was in bed all the time, she actually went and she got a doctor prescribed morphine pump, put into her stomach. Okay, and so all day long that pump would just pump morphine into her body, so she was always drowsy, always sleepy. Well, eventually she would then begin to add prescription painkillers and other things that were just terrible for her body, and she would take them all day long when she was awake. Eventually got to the point where my brother and I had to seek to find other rides to school. We had to figure out how to get to school on our own, and we were just in elementary. And I remember at that time beginning to realize, oh my gosh, what is happening? What is going on in my life? I'm going to never go to college. I'm going to never do this. I'm going to never be a successful person, because I knew, I could see in the future like what was happening. I could tell that my family was deteriorating. But I had hope, and I chose to go down the path. I chose to take everything that was placed in front of me. I was not the best at it. I struggled really bad in school. All throughout elementary, all throughout middle school. Eventually my grandparents would get custody of my brother and I. My parents divorced. My dad actually went to prison, and he got locked up. And my mom moved into a apartment right down the street from my grandparents. So we were able to see her. She went through different rehab programs in order to get her life straight and whatnot. And she eventually did, which was an incredible thing, and I'm so happy that she did that. But as I went throughout middle school, I began to get bullied, okay? And I'm not talking about somebody coming up to you and just picking on you and saying, "You're fat, you're this, you're that." There was a time when actually out of nowhere a group of boys jumped me when I was in I believe I was in 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade, and they jumped me, and one of them broke my arm and snapped my wrist in half. So that was the kind of bullying I faced, and that's probably, an extreme bullying that, really we don't really see today. We just hear about the picking and all that, which did happen to me. But eventually I would get to a point where I had enough, and I decided to be the one to be the bully. So I began to work out. I began to lift weights and do things like that to get myself strong, and I became really strong. Actually, I joined the basketball team and the football team, and I was successful in that all the way up to through high school. And because I got stronger and bigger than everybody else, I then picked on others, and I would then bully others and hurt others intentionally, just not even knowing why I was doing it, but then would later find out that I was just trying to cover my own scars and my own insecurities that I had from when I got bullied, which all was because of what was happening with my parents at home. So anyways, I then had a choice to either continue to do what I was doing or turn my life around, which I did turn my life around. I then began to focus in school, leave all my friends behind, not talk to them anymore, and just kind of focus on what I needed to get done. I had struggled so bad in school, and every single year I went to summer school, and mainly particularly for math. I really struggled in math. But I had that hope. I had that hope that was constantly in my heart, that I knew that one day that I was going to have such a great purpose. I was going to have such a great a successful life ahead of me, that I could focus on that and not focus on the things that were happening all around me and the things that happened in my past. So I began to go down the right path. I began to go down a path that was going to lead me towards success in life and lead me towards happiness and goodness. Well, in the summer, right before my senior year, I was on the football team, and we were just about to go to two-a-days, and we were gone actually to our lake house, and I was on a Sea-Doo, and I lost control of the Sea-Doo. I hit a really big wave. I lost control, and I got ejected off of the Sea-Doo, and I landed directly on my back, kind of like in a horseshoe shape, and instantly I had pain. Instantly I felt, like I couldn't breathe. I had hit so hard. Because I was in air, so high, I just landed right on my back. And if you don't know, landing on water, just much like a belly flop, if you ever done that before, can hurt really, really bad, and even as much as like landing on concrete. So you can imagine landing directly on your back, what impact that would do to you with that height and being ejected like that. So I would find out later on through hospitals and all this stuff that I had 3 ruptured discs in my back. So I went to the hospital for a procedure one day to get this situation kind of tended to and fixed and whatnot. They went in, they opened me up, and I woke up from the surgery, and I was paralyzed waist down. And when I realized that I was paralyzed, my hope literally sank. I had no hope. Hope did not even exist. I would find myself paralyzed for about a month and a half in the hospital, not be able to feel my legs, not be able to go to the bathroom on my own, not be able to do anything. I was missing high school, the beginning of high school, and it was just a really rough time. Well, eventually, over time, the paralyzation began to go down, and I began to get feeling in my legs, and it was a slow process, and they finally released me from the hospital in a wheelchair, and I then progressed to a walker, and then to a cane, and I had a wheelchair at high school. I was the one with the walker, and I was the one with the cane. So of course you can imagine being in a small private school that I was in, that a lot of attention was on me. And so I then began to heal. The process began to take place. I eventually got all my feeling back in my legs, and I would have to learn how to walk all over again, in which I did. About 1 month later, on Thanksgiving Day, I woke up and I went over to my mom's house to go get her. And I walked in and I found her laying dead from an overdose that she had done on accident. From prescription pills that she had taken. Of course, this was a big shock to the family, a big shock to me. I love my mother with all my heart. And it was such a tragic, such a rough time for us. And again, that hope just sank. Like, what God, what is for me? What is for me in my life? I began to think that. I began to shout that out and begin to wonder, what is everything just going to continue to happen like this? Every time I turn around, something big happens again in my life. And so I did have no hope. I had zero hope. But eventually, I got over it. And I was able to trust in my friends and to trust in the people that I knew around me and to put my hope in them and to put my hope in faith. And I knew immediately that I would get through it, and I did. Not everybody can go through the death of their mother, their father, or anybody for that matter at such a young age in high school and be all fine and dandy. It was hard, it was rough, but I would eventually find that hope. And I gained that back. And so what I want to do today is I want to inspire you. If you're hopeless, if you've been through a situation in your life where you just don't know if you can make it out, if you've been through a situation where you're struggling and you say, man, I don't know how, I could do it. You did it, but I don't know if I can do it. Well, I'm telling you today, you can do it. You have the power to choose. The greatest power that you have is the power to choose. And you can choose this day to either walk in hope and freedom or choose to walk without hope and freedom in your life. And I promise you, having hope, having freedom, having that sense of being okay is far better. So I want to encourage you, if you're somebody who is struggling, if you've been through some life difficulties, if you've been through those tragedies, if you've faced some things that you may seem like you never can get out of, I want to tell you there is a way out. There is a way out. And I want to inspire you with that hope today. The promise of you